今天升起的这面红旗，曾经伴随着我国第一艘航天试验飞船神舟号遨游太空。
航天员杨磊伟出发，点火，助推器分离，向世界各国人民问好。我们奉命执行神舟6号载人航天飞行任务，出发！起飞！起飞！祝愿世界共同发展，人类和平友好。我已出征，感觉良好。2小时。
透过它，你们还可以看到我的倒影呢。
遥测信号正常，有权20游击关机。光学雷达进入正常。推进分离，包整以上。
星空浩瀚无比，探索永无止境。这里是中央电视台新闻频道中国空间站货运飞船号核心舱特别节目。
And welcome to our special coverage, China Space Station. According to the China Manned Space Agency, yesterday we successfully launched the Tianzhou-2, and right now it's already in the orbit. And this morning, 5:01 Beijing time, docked with Tianhe, the core module, automatically, and the whole process took nearly 8 hours. And in the Tianzhou-2 actually carried supplies for autonomous, the astronauts and the equipment, and also the propellant. And right now the combination is right now flying in the sky and in the space, and we'll also do more experiments up there. And right now we have the 8 people in the command center to do the following. And also today is the national day for the technology personnel, and we pay salute to each and every dream tracer. Because of you, make China a strong nation of innovators, and we also cherish each and every fruit in science and technology endeavor, and we also capture the process and also the endeavor and efforts paid by the technicians. We talk about on board of Tianzhou-2 that carried the spacesuits for astronauts, and also the space science equipment as well as propellant. After it's docked with Tianhe, right now the combination is traveling in the outer space, and we'll also see the will conduct the in-orbit refueling maneuvers. So we talk about the previous docking and maneuver actually took 2 days because that really need a lot of the people to support this maneuver. And you could see that at this time, actually, these arrived in the morning. We sent this parcel delivery in the evening, and in the morning, it's received by Tianhe. So this morning, we heard that the successfully the docking and the maneuvering completed. So you look at the whole people here, and it's a sleepless night for them. And this is a great success, but how that important to the ongoing construction of the China space station. So just use one night, we could see that a speedy docking and maneuvering. So this docking and rendezvous actually is very important to us because that can be conducted in this fast speed. So which means in the later days we can achieve a better Earth to space transportation, and that will provide convenient work and life for our astronauts in the space. So we talk about our key mission in May is that we should land it on the right Earth, around the planet, and also to launch the core module, and also that's the rendezvous and docking with our just launched cargo ship. And of course, this is a big task for all the teams, and that's the efforts belong to the generations of space practitioners. And right now, it's a time also is to harvest the achievement, and within the coming 2 years we need to have completed 11 space missions, and this is also a key milestone target for all of us. And this time you could see that we achieved this automotive, the docking and the rendezvous, and also that you can see this more in a smart way to conduct this mission, and also is docking and rendezvous 24/7 around the year. And also that help to release the burden for our scientists on the ground, so they should not and do not need to stick to a post for all the time. And with us today, we also have Mr. Zhu. Mr. Zhu will help us to reveal the whole process of the docking and the rendezvous. This is the earlier picture. So that's the Tianhe core module of China's space station and the Tianzhou-2. So first it stopped at 5 kilometers. So at this position, of course, we bring the earlier picture to our viewers to review some of the key milestones for the docking and rendezvous happened this early morning. We talk about is suspension or stopped at the 5 kilometers. Actually, they're still moving. And also is a little bit faster than the first cosmic velocity. And also we talk about that the Tianzhou, it should speed up, so accelerated its speed, so it can catch up with Tianhe and dock with Tianhe. So we have several checking points. So the first point is at 5 kilometers. So we talk about at this checking point, their relative velocity should be the same, or talk about should be 0. So we have that the checking point is the 1 kilometers, 400 meters, 200 meters, and 19 meters. So after that 19 meters, and we will really see that automatic dock and rendezvous happened. So right now coming to a second checking point, 400 meters. And the radar on each vehicle also tries to capture each other. And they also use the different equipment that if they stay at the 5 kilometers, they will use microwave radar. And also when it's come to the 400 meters, then it started the laser radar. And when it's really coming to that 200 meters or even closer, they will also use the optical imaging equipment. So they will know exactly the position of each other. And this is actually, we look at the Tianhe, the core module. And I believe that's the position facing to the Tianhe. So we see that that's the sun. Actually, that's not Tianzhou. And also on board with the Tianhe, we have the panoramic camera, so help us capture the full range of all the visible pictures. So right now it's coming to the attack point over 200 meters. So the optical camera actually help the two vehicles to capture each other and know exactly the positioning. Because we talk about this time, that's the docking and maneuver. Actually, the docking and the rendezvous happened in a very fast speed and also automatically. So on the left-hand side of the picture, that's Tianzhou-2, and on the right-hand side, should be our Tianhe. So right now, the two vehicles approaching to each other, closer and closer. So you could see this is actually from the angle of the Tianhe, and right now you could see that the Tianzhou, that's a cargo ship, right now is approaching to the core module. So that's already surpassed the 90 minutes. This is the last mile, the last minute, the last meter. Captured. And that's the cushion happened a little bit and then docked. So this is the computer simulation. So we talk about these two vehicles. Actually, they are not stopped. The relevant velocity is 0, but still these two vehicles actually are operating in orbit in a very fast speed. So the Tianzhou cargo ship has the capture equipment. So that's also for docking purpose. So it's also right now we look at we heard like the commander said that the locked the capture ring fully locked. So which means right now these two vehicles combined into one. So they become the one combination in orbit. So it's a key milestone for docking and rendezvous maneuvers. And from now, the core module actually take the initiative and the combination Right now, we'll fly in the orbit controlled by the core module. So this is a very successful mission in terms of docking and rendezvous maneuvers. And we talk about the whole process actually finished in the shuttle zone. So it helps us to easier capture the vehicles. So before the sun's rise, it's easier for us to complete the whole process of docking and rendezvous. So the whole process actually is very perfect, just same as our schedule. And we look at the DCC combination and also capture the image of Earth. This is the computer simulation because we don't have another vehicle in orbit to capture the image of the combination. Alright, just now we revealed the whole process of docking, and the rendezvous process happened this early morning Beijing time. So it's around just 8 hours. So compared to Shenzhou-8 and Tianzhou-1, the docking and the maneuver is much shortened. So how we achieve this? So the Cargo-2 actually can complete the docking mission in a very speedy manner and automatically. So it's automatically means that the whole process actually conducted by cargo ship itself. So the people on the ground just leave your hands off. You do not need to involve too much. So before we also had the docking mission. That's the Tianzhou-1. That happened actually around 2 to 3 days for the whole process. So because like before, they need to transmit all the data for docking and the rendezvous to the ground control center and the ground center, and to transfer the data back to the cargo ship. Actually, that's consumed 2 to 3 days for the whole process. And right now, you could see that the automatically docked between the Tianhe and Tianzhou cargo ship. So we talk about when the two vehicles 50 kilometers between each other, they use a BTS, Beidou satellite, for navigation, and for the last milestones, they will use that the optical cameras for them to capture the each other. So when it's approached to 10 kilometers, or within the scope of 10 kilometers, so the two vehicles will measure the distance. And they will calculate the position of each other. So we make sure that the docking could be conducted in a precise manner when the two vehicles just 30 meters between each other. Then we talk about the cameras. So we talk about these optical cameras. There are 4 of them. Will do exactly the final measures. Make sure a complete and successful docking. So quite a magic, right? So we talk about these 2 giant vehicles. Let's look at, we have the models here. So what are these 2 parts? So this is the core module, and the tail one is Tianzhou space cargo ship. That's Tianzhou-2. So they just had a perfect docking and rendezvous. So why we conducted this kind of, or this style of docking and rendezvous this time? So for cargo ship actually have helped to shorten the period of mission. So it's a very efficiency, improved efficiency. It's like you would like express deliver it. You would like to receive your parcels as early as possible in a shorter time period. Same for the space station. So the cargo ship is like a delivery. So it would like to deliver the parcels, which means the supplies inside the cargo ship to the space center as early as possible, as fast as possible. So the Mr. Zhu didn't sleep for day and night. So right now, finally come to this day, I believe that you can set assured. So we talk about that if we don't do in this style, then we need to rely on the people on the ground in our command center. So they will do all the measures and they will calculate at the indicators and index and also upload all these data to the cargo ship. And this is a really complicated process. So that people on the ground need to make the judgment, need to really give the orders. So how long does it take if involve the personnel on ground? So normally it's 2 days. Right now we shorten to 8 hours. So it's like even shorter than the international flights, right? From China to other countries, that's maybe need more than 10 hours. But right now you look at, we just send a space vehicle to the outer space and just 8 hours and finish the whole process. And we check at different positions, right? Different points. So why we have that different checking points? So just let it do whatever it can. So we have these checking points. We make sure at each key milestone, of course, you need to meet the certain conditions. So we need to make sure that we look at it at different checking points, make sure the whole process is under control or that their position actually is perfect for docking. So we look at the cargo space when approaching to the Tianhe. Actually, we should see some smoke from the Tianzhou-2 cargo space because that's the smoke released from the engine, because they also need to change their position, make sure they can conduct a perfect docking with the core module. So that's the minor adjustment of the vehicles. I believe that's also the tricky part of the docking mission. And what else do you think could be a challenge or risky part? So that's the last docking part, I believe. So you can run really fast on the road, right? But the most difficult part is that you need to pay attention, special attention when you're parking on the roadside. So I believe that's the most difficult part actually is that 400 meters for the final docking. So if you park a car on the roadside, it's easier because that's just you are the only moving object. The vehicle, your car is the only moving object. But we talk about docking mission this time. We have 2 moving objects. So right now, this have the completion of docking, and right now the combination right now is flying in the outer space. So the core module, which is the Tianhe, actually right now is to take the lead. So the combination also need to adjust its position in orbit. And also Tianhe can give the order, or let's say Tianhe actually can completely control the cargo ship. So after docking, what the following missions we could expect? So let's talk to our correspondent. So right now it's 9:25 a.m. Beijing time. Already 4 hours after the docking and rendezvous. So in the past 4 hours, the Tianzhou and the Tianhe actually set all the indicators for the combination. And also for the cargo ship, it needs to also change all these instruments to the combination model and the combination mode. So after the launch of Tianhe on April 29th, the Tianzhou-2 cargo ship actually is the first visitor to the core module, and it also carries 6.8 tons of goods and materials, including supplies for astronauts, the 2 tons of propellant, and also space science equipment. So I just talked to the Mr. Zhang, as a designer of the Tianzhou-2, and also on board of Tianzhou-2 also had a ornament, so that's in a cow shape. That's also the a good luck wish all the best for the mission, and also could be a strong space mission. And we talk about that this is the first time for us to launch the cargo spacecraft when the space station is still under construction. And also we talk about fast. That's the word we mentioned many times. So before we talk about no matter it's Tianzhou-11 or Tianzhou-1, it needed around 2 days to finish all the docking and rendezvous mission. At this time, just 8 hours, which means our autonomous can reach to the space station even faster. And that also means that we can also deliver the fresh food to the astronauts in the space. So which means you harvest the mango in Hainan and you can right away deliver them to the astronauts in the space. So after enter to the orbit, just 22 minutes after the launch, the Tianzhou-2 cargo ship actually initiates its own automatic mode, the operational mode. And this morning, 5:01 a.m., it docked with Tianhe actually 7 to 8 minutes earlier than the schedule for finishing that docking mission. With me, we have the AWAS director, Mr. Sun, of the command center. So the combination right now, still doing some setting work, but so far so good. All the data and the performance are in good condition. So we talk about this time, the speedy docking mission. How do you feel? Because you experienced so many times of the docking and rendezvous missions. How you evaluate the performance this time? Well, as you mentioned, this is the first time of applied flights, and also achieved the speedy rendezvous and docking mission, which showcased that we improved our techniques in a remarkable manner, and it's very fast. So the mission is completed in a faster, efficient, and reliable manner. And also you mentioned it also saved us some time, because that we did a quite sufficient preparation work. And also we talk about the checking points. It all saved us some time. So for these checking points actually is the point for us to look into any potential problems, because there is no problems throughout the whole journey. So that's why we also save some more time. So we talk about this time is automatic control, which means also you have less workload, right? Compared to the previous 2-day docking mission, yes. But this is our first speedy docking and rendezvous mission, so the people on the ground need to pay a closer eye, especially on each checking point, and also the flying position of Tianzhou and Tianhe. So it's a very efficient, but also actually we work in an intense way. So what are the key jobs need to be performed by the combination? So after we set up the operational model for the combination, we will conduct the refueling work, and then the combination will adjust itself to the in orbit and welcome the arrival of a other crewed mission. And thank you very much, our correspondent. So it's a full completion of docking and rendezvous, but it's not a finishing show because we have a lot of other launch missions coming up. And we talk about it's not the only time for Tianzhou-2 to conduct this docking, and will complete several docking missions. So this is the automatic docking. So we need to check and verify the key technologies. Make sure that the cargo ship can complete a smart and automatic docking and rendezvous with core module. So we talk about this time, actually, we give a control rights to the Tianzhou cargo ship itself. So later on, what we could expect that one day we could deliver the very fresh fruit and vegetables to the astronauts. And this time we also verified in-orbit refueling maneuvers. There are 2 maneuver windows. One is at the rear point. We call it the tail part. And we also have another refueling part. So you need to from the tail and get to the front. So basically, one at the front, one at the tail. That's these 2 parts for refueling. And we will also verify a robotic arm, because we need to test that, and then we will welcome the arrival of the lab capsules. So that's separates the cargo shape. And so basically consider like this. The core module use the robotic arm to capture the cargo space and separate from the core module, and also do some of the outer space activities just by linking at the robotic arm. So this time we also carried 6.8 tons of goods and materials. How we can know exactly what kind of the goods the astronauts can look into. So this is the docking point at the Tianzhou-2, and astronauts actually can also get into this cargo ship. So there are around 40 lockers in each locker, and we'll have some of the supplies for astronauts, and also other in-space equipment for astronauts, and also the space science equipment. So for the goods and materials, it's well organized. It seems like a normal shelf or normal locker, but actually all these in a very sweet design. So there's no impeded objects in the way of our astronauts. So you could see that's the lockers, actually the same as we have at our home. So in each locker, we talk about food, we talk about clothes for astronauts, and their daily necessities, and also water. And also the toolbox, the other equipment, all well organized inside the cargo ship, and also packed in a bag. So there are around 208 lockers inside the cargo ship. So because in the past, the astronauts had difficulties to find the goods and materials they were looking for. So this time, we make it a smarter manner. So you look at, actually we have different lockers, and you cannot really place wherever you would like. So it's really hard to find them. So we were sorted out. So the data of all these materials, actually we have that data on ground collected and stored. So the astronauts and also people on the ground know exactly which item are stored at which locker. And next month, we will send the 3 astronauts to the space for a 3-month-long stay. And they will stay in the Tianhe core module, and compared to Tiangong 1 and 2, Tianhe actually provide a vaster space or a wider space and also a more comfortable space home for astronauts. So during the design phase of the core module, we look at the living and working space actually is much expanded. So the places for the astronauts this time at the core module is around 50 cubic meters, before just 15 cubic meters. And also the core modules are good for accommodating 3 astronauts to stay for a longer time period. So they have the operation zone, they have the living area, and also they have the area for doing exercise. And astronauts can also use the network. So the astronauts can use these optical fiber communications freely and also can surfing the websites and also dial the phones. So that's the way using internet and the phones is same as people on the ground using all these. And we also talk about life support material. Actually, the waters and the waste actually can be recycled and also after purified, also good to consume by the astronauts. So we talk about in order to provide or facilitate the astronauts work in space, so they just use Wi-Fi or scan the code. So the astronauts know exactly which item is stored at which locker. So yes, we have that the Wi-Fi service available and the core module. So the astronauts can use the phone to control the lighting and also control and also contact and communicate with the people on the ground. And also they know exactly the consumption of materials and goods. And the photos they got also can transferred to the ground. So it sounds like it's similar as what we do on Earth, but actually a little bit more complicated process. So next month we will conduct the crewed mission. So the astronauts will stay in space for 3 months. That also required a large number of goods and materials. Of course, the food, water, and also the other supplies. This time actually carried by the cargo ship. But we talk about the food and also the water also carried by astronauts themselves with Shenzhou manned spaceship. So we also have a fridge. So we have that kind of fridge inside the core module. And we also talk about the food. Actually, after all the processing, it's good to store for a longer time period. So it's good for complete the whole 3 months mission. So we talk about like some food can be stored at the normal temperature, some actually be put in the fridge, like the fresh fruit. Of course, you need to store them in a lower temperature, but for the others, the packed food actually can store a longer time period and normal temperature. After the docking with Tianhe, the Tianzhou-2 actually is a cargo spacecraft. So the temperature requirement should be different for core module and for cargo spacecraft. So we talk about the temperature. So the cargo spacecraft, yes, a lower temperature compared to the core module, because core module is a place to accommodate astronauts. So we talk about the cargo space. Actually, a lot of equipment actually is not operated because right now we talk about the whole combination right now is controlled by Tianhe. So a lot of the equipment actually at Tianzhou right now is all stopped. And we also talk about another role actually for Tianzhou-2 cargo space is collect the waste and burn up during the atmosphere re-entry. Is it possible that later on we could bring materials back to Earth by cargo space? Yes, it could be possible. In June this month, we will send the Tianzhou-2 crewed spaceship in June. So what's the group of astronauts this time? According to Yang Liwei, so they will select it from the team 1 and 2. So this time we not have a female astronaut. So in our previous mission, actually a female astronauts all involved. We have the commander, the engineer. Based on their different roles, they will also have different training. Of course, the A3 astronauts should all know how to do that, the extravehicular activities, and also for these 3 astronauts, they can also replace each other to conduct different missions. The Shenzhou-12 is scheduled to be launched in June, and they will be a first group of astronauts stationed inside the core module. They will stay around 3 months to conduct the repairing and also a payload scientific experiment and also the extravehicular activities. So right now it's very approaching to the final day. So what are the A3 astronauts? As the first group of people living inside the core module, what are their key missions to perform this time? So right now, just less than 1 month for countdown. Right now, for the A3 astronauts, right now coming to the final isolation period, and also as the spin period. So right now, for the 3 astronauts, they will do specific missions they will going to perform in the space. So we talk about the extravehicular activities, the repairing work, and also how to display and arrange the core module, because they are the first of group arrived in the core module, so they need to do all the setting up work, and also they need to protect and install and adjust the equipment. So right now, based on all these specific missions, they are undergoing the final training. So we will actually send 4 manned missions. So in total, we select 4 teams of the 16 astronauts, and they will also conduct several extravehicular activities, so to repair the equipment and also install and adjust equipment. So how they train to perform this mission? So they should have the expertise. And also for the physical part, of course, we also have a lot of different workouts, and also for this high payload and our longer time period, and also for the outside the capsule, their muscles, and also we look at the endurance. And also we talk about later on maybe that we will also have the outside of the capsule in the water environment. So astronauts actually stay in the water for 6 to 7 hours, and they even cannot really hold the chopsticks under this really intense working. And also we'll have the 3 kinds of the robotic arm. So the astronauts also need to know how to operate these robotic marks. And also we improve the spacesuits, enabling the astronauts can conduct a complete and a complex space science experiment. So we talk about the space suits and much improved, and look at the functions of the whole suits and also the backpack all improved. Based on the schedule, within 2 hours, 11 missions should be completed in order to build the China's space station by the end of 2022. So we talk about how exactly the space station look like. So right now, this is how it look like. It's 2 parts. One is core module, another is a cargo ship. That's Tianzhou-2. So the Tianhe core module has to fly by itself for 1 month, and the Tianzhou-2 cargo ship docked with core module. And then we'll also launch 2 live capsules to dock with core module. So it's in a T letter shape. So actually, the core module is provided 3 parts available to dock with different space vehicles. So it's a T shape comprising core module and the 2 lab capsules. So this is the basic formation of the space station. And we can also dock with another module. And that a docked module can also dock with other modules. So it's basically can do that expansion. So based on the current planning, this is right now a final look of the space station. And it will be approach 180 tons. So by docking more modules, this also provides more space for the astronauts and also the space itself to conduct the in-space science equipment and also the experiment. And right now, the combination is right now flying in outer space. And the Tianhe core module actually finished around 40 testings in orbit. And from the China Academy of Space Technology, and the Tianhe also finished the orbit powering and also the robotic arm operation. So the core module finished and verified 40 tests. The ODA payload actually operated in a smooth manner. So the upload network, we searched the 6 Mbps as a good channel for us to upload the data, and for download channel, actually that's for us to transfer data. Right now we have 150 Mbps. Later on, that could be even faster. And we also on board have 2 special experimental cabinets. that's for the future experiment on the new materials. And also this is also provide the another platform. That's also the magnetic levitation. So far these two cabinets also operating in a good manner, and we will also launch the payload to perform its job. So part of the experiment will be involve the astronauts. And after the people on the ground receive ODs, and they will conduct the sample detection. So we talk about the docking actually is either from the front or from the tail. So for the docking and rendezvous, first they should be in the same orbit. So if we talk about like the docking from the side, then which means they're not in the same orbit. That will be extremely complicated. It's quite hard to make that possible. So in orbit space science experiment, we will have that the microgravity experiment, because that's something very special. Only we can do that experiment in space. And we also need to conduct the experiment on a long stay for astronauts, how the whole environment impact the astronauts' health, and how that can influence the normal people's day-to-day life. Maybe like we talk about new materials, new techniques that we can do the test in the space, and for the achievements or the results could be commercialized. And we hope that more and more space technology can deliver benefits to normal people on ground. So the blueprint already drawn up, the action plan and the timetables already there in space and in place. And right now we could see that this morning 5:01 a.m. the Tianzhou-2 cargo ship docked with Tianhe, the core module, and the combination right now just above our heads, flying around the Earth, waiting for the crewed spaceship Tianzhou-2 at the Shenzhou-12. And next month in June, we will send 3 astronauts, the first group of visitors to the core module. Right now, the construction of China's space station is follow our schedules, and I hope we can create a brightest star in the sky and also in the space. Thank you all, and this is Anna for our special coverage. Thank you for watching.